A very good morning students. This is your English teacher Benu Sehrawat and I welcome you all to RKP online classes. And we are going to continue with the same lesson all summer in a day. Alright, so please open your books at page number 110. Right? So in our last video, we got to know that all the children, the previous day, they wrote beautiful poems and essays on yes, sun, right? So and Margot, she wrote a beautiful poem and she read it to everybody, right? Now let's see what happens next. All right. Ah, you didn't write that, protested one of the boys. When she recited that poem, one of the boys, he protested. Protested means objected. Alright, protested means objected. Protested, objected. Or we can also say expressed opposition, right? So basically, if somebody says that one of your friends, maybe he says, yesterday I was playing with the dog and I just love teasing the dogs. So you just protest that. Excuse me, it's not right to tease and irritate the animals, right? So basically when you express your opposition, like where, sorry, I don't agree with it. So that means protested, objected or expressed opposition. So one of the boys, he expressed his opposition and said, I don't believe this, that this poem is written by you. I'm sorry. Okay. I did, said Margot. I did. And Margot, she was really upset hearing that, right? And she just told the boy that yes, the poem was written by her only, right? Okay. William, said the teacher. So here we get to know that the boy, right, who did not like it was hard for the boy to believe that the poem was written by Margot. That boy, his name is William. Okay. Now the rain was slackening. Okay. The word is slackening. Now, slackening. You can guess also the meaning of the word. Now, before the rain, right, it was very heavy, right? It was very heavy. Now, they are saying now the rain was slackening. Can you guess here? Of course, when it was becoming less active, okay? So, slackening means becoming less active. Becoming less active. Alright, so it was a good news for the children. And the children were crushed in the windows. Now, because the rain was, it was becoming less active, right? Then all the children, they got more excited and they were crushed in the windows. How? Like this is the window and they were like this. Okay, so the windows, they were of glass, right? So they were all they were looking outside and waiting for the rain to be stopped. So here the word crushed, okay, crushed here means pressed, or we can also say squeezed, okay, squeezed. Why? Because of course this is the window and if there are like 7 or 10 children, so what will happen? They will squeeze each other, to have a look outside. Alright. Now, where's the teacher? She'll be back. She'd better hurry. We'll miss it. So children are really excited and they are just waiting for their teacher, and they are worried. Like if she gets late, they will miss the sun, right? Now, they turned on themselves. Okay, they turned on themselves. Now, turn on means they started walking on their own, right? They didn't wait for the teacher and they just started walking. So, the word is turned. Turned, that means started. Basically, whenever we use this verb like this, when they started, they turned on, it means they started doing something. Okay, they started doing something. So here these children, they started moving towards the window, right? Started moving or doing. Now, in what way? Like a feverish wheel, okay? All fumbling spokes. Now, like a feverish wheel. Feverish means in an excited manner, okay? Feverish. Feverish, excited. So they started walking as if, there is a wheel, okay, which is like really excited to move on the path, right? So they were moving like this, and all fumbling spokes. Now you understand spokes. Spokes are, see, this is the wheel, right? This is something, I mean, it looks like something like this, right? So this is the wheel, and there are these rods. Like in the center there is a point, and all the rods are attached to it. So these are called spokes. Okay, these are called spokes, which means rods. Okay, rods, iron rods, right? So they were and fumbling. Fumbling means when something is in an improper way. Okay, very clumsy, not properly. Okay, so fumbling. Fumbling. Here beta B is silent. Okay, B is silent. We don't pronounce it. So fumbling means clumsy. Alright, so this is how they moved, right? Now, Margot stood alone. Okay, she was not with the other children. She was a very frail girl. Frail means very weak, not very strong. It's antonym of strong, right? So, the word is frail, F-R-A-I-L. Frail means weak. Weak. So, Margot, she was a very frail girl, very weak girl, who looked as if she had been lost in the rain for years, and the rain had washed out the blue from her eyes and the red from her face and the yellow from her hair. And whenever somebody looked at Margot, it looked as if she has, if she had been lost in the rains for years, because it had been raining there for years, right? So it looked as if she had lost there, and it had washed away. Washed away means removed. Okay, wash away, the phrasal verb, it means remove, to remove, right? So it looks as if the rain has washed away the blue from her eyes. Okay, that means she had blue eyes, blue colored eyes, right? So it the blue color has been taken away, right? And red from her face. Okay, so red maybe on the cheeks, on the lips, right? And that color has also been washed away, and yellow from her hair. So we get to know here that she was a very pretty girl, and her eyes were blue, and she had a beautiful pink, reddish pink cheeks, right? And golden hair, yellow hair. So it looked, now all her beauty was gone, right? And it seemed as if the rain, it has washed away all her beauty, right? So she was an old photograph from an album whitened away, right? So now at present she looked like an old photograph. Now if you see the photographs maybe of your grandparents, right, which are like really old, if you see their color, it fades, right? And they become very dull, right? So that is what the writer is telling us here. She was an old photograph from an album, so she just looked like that old photograph which has lost the brightness, okay? And whitened away, right? Whitened away means it is a phrasal verb, whiten away, and it means taken away. Whitened away means taken away the original color, okay? Original color. So, and if she spoke at all, her voice would be like a ghost. So basically, when the writer says that whenever, if ever she spoke, it tells us that she hardly spoke. She was a reserved girl. She did not like to talk a lot, right? And whenever, if she ever spoke, her voice would be like a ghost. So they are just imagining, right? It would be like a ghost because she barely talked, right? So now she stood separate, staring at the rain and the loud wet world beyond the huge glass. And when all the children, they were standing alone, they were standing together, Margot was still standing separate. She was not with those children, right? And she was just staring at. Staring means to look at something continuously, okay? Staring means to look at something continuously. Like you can say, if suppose your sister, she keeps looking at you for maybe for a minute, so it looks weird, right? So you will say, what is the reason? Why are you staring at me like this? What's the matter? Okay, so she was staring at the huge glasses. In their classroom there were huge glasses, right? From there they were staring. She was staring at the rain and the loud wet world. Now why loud wet world? Wet because it had been raining for years, and loud because continuous drop of rain, right? So it creates sounds, right? So that is why it is called loud wet world, okay? Now what are you looking at? Said William. Of course, whom did he ask? To Margot. Margot said nothing. She did not say a word. Speak when you are spoken to. Now William said, speak when you are spoken to. Basically, he was angry at that point of time. And he says, what is the matter with you? Why don't you speak? At least if somebody is speaking to you, you should respond, right? He gave her a shove. He gave her a shove. Now what is shove? Suppose somebody is standing here. So if I give this person a shove, it will be like So basically a push. Okay. So shove. Shove means push. Alright. So we can use this word suppose there are two boys and suddenly they start actually fighting, right, with each other. So one of the boys, he gave the other a shove and he fell down, right? Okay, but she did not move. Alright, even after the shove she did not move. They edged away from her. They edged away from her. Now suppose Margot was standing here. So if I edge away from Margot, I will go like this. So basically move away from that person. Okay. So this is edge. Edged away means moved away. Alright, so they just moved away from her. They would not look at her. She felt them go away, and this was because she would play no games with them in the echoing tunnels of the underground city. Now this city was underground. Okay, a tunnel is basically an artificial passage. Okay, an artificial passage which is made maybe in the mountain. Okay, in the mountain you must have many of you must have seen tunnels, right? And the trains, they pass through the tunnels, right? So so the other children, they never liked Margot. Why? Because she never played any game with them, right? And she did not enjoy being in those echoing tunnel. Echo is what? If you say something, your voice will be repeated. Okay. So echo means repeated sounds. Okay. In hilly areas, if you say something, your voice will be repeated. Okay. That is called echo. So if when those children, they used to play in those tunnels, of course their voice, that created lot of echoes, right? Okay, if they tagged her and ran, she stood blinking after them and did not follow. Now I'm sure you all must have played this game sometime. I have also played this game where you run after somebody and you have to catch that person, right? Okay, so that is called tag game. Okay, so whenever, if they tagged her, tagged means when you are actually chasing somebody, right? So that is a game. So if they tagged her, even then she did not do anything. She did not run after them, right? And she just stood there blinking. Blinking here means to give looking in an angry expression. Okay, blinking, looking in an angry expression. So she did not run after them and she just stood there and with angry expressions on her face, right? And when the class sang songs about happiness and life and games, her lips barely moved. Barely means hardly. If somebody says her lips barely moved, that means she did not sing actually. She did not. So basically Margot, she did not enjoy any games also, songs also, whenever the other children used to do that. Now, only when they sang about the sun, the summer, did her lips move as she watched the drenched windows. So here we get to know something about Margot, that she only felt happiness when she heard something about sun, right? Sun. That was the only moment when she used to feel happy, right? And summer, of course, sun and summer. And at that time also she used to feel happy, and she continuously she used to watch the rain outside. Now you see the word here, beta, drenched windows. Now drenched means completely soaked in water. Okay, drenched. Drenched means completely soaked. Now suppose if it's raining heavily outside and I go outside without an umbrella, so I will be in a few minutes I will be drenched. That means the water will be dripping out of my clothes, right? Because the rain is quite heavy outside. So that is called drenched, when you are completely soaked in water. Now, and then of course the biggest crime of all was that she had come here only 5 years ago from Earth. And she remembered the sun and the way the sun was and the sky was when she was 4. Now, here we get to know about the reason why all the other children hated Margot. Why did they hate her? Because just 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I'm sorry, 5 years ago, I mean, she came on the planet Venus only 5 years ago, right? So she joined them quite late. And whereas the other children, they had been living there for 9 years. Right? So they always thought that, you know, she had this privilege to know more about the sun, and of course because she used to live on the planet Earth, so and how the summers feel, right? So this was the factor, right? This was the reason that the other children, they used to feel envious of her. They used to feel jealous of her, right? Because they did not get this opportunity to see the sun and feel its warmth, right? So this is how the children are, right? All right. So and they had been on Venus all their lives, and they had been only 2 years old when last the sun came out, and had long since forgotten the color and heat of the way it really was. But Margot remembered. So this was the reason, and the children, they always thought, we have never seen the sun. I mean, it was only once when we saw the sun, and at that time we were only 2 years old. We do not even remember, right, how good it feels when the sun is out there in the sky, right? But Margot, she had this opportunity in her life, right? So this was the reason they always felt really jealous of Margot. Alright? So I hope till here you have understood and you have enjoyed the lesson, and of course we'll continue with the lesson in our next video. Thank you so much.